The most important thing to remember about maidenhair ferns is they do want to live, and I have proof of that. Now, the proof is quite distressing if you've killed 1 or 100 of these, because they seem like such a delicate flower. But look at this picture. Not only do they want to live, they will actively grow. So if you bring one of these home and it dies within 2 weeks, which is, quite a standard thing to happen, it's not actually dead, it's just the fronds. They do want to live, they are quite difficult to kill in terms of the roots. The fronds are a different story, they are more delicate. However, if you get the basics right, and I'll tell you what the basics are, they're okay. Like, I'm an underwaterer, I'm a plant neglector, I constantly seem to have pests on my plants because I neglect them. And yet look, she's growing well, and I'm not going to say it's easy care, but it's not difficult. It's once you've kind of got the basics there, they do want to live, but it's not a plant that thrives on neglect, as people like to say. So yeah, that is the most important point, is that they do actually want to live and are difficult to kill. The second thing is the fronds do die. Now you can see on this one, this frond it's done, it's on its way out. That happens naturally and it's perfectly normal. Like, that is just part of the way. These don't last that long. They're really thin and delicate, so they just don't last. Also, they seem to go through this cycle where you'll wake up one morning and the whole thing will just be a crispy mess. And you're like, oh, well, that was nice while it lasted, and then throw it in the bin. Mine does it in November, and you'd be like, well, they just died back in winter. But it then comes back like a couple of weeks later. So I don't know what it is, but it just seems like a natural thing that every now and again, all the old fronds are shed and they come up with new ones. So once they do like brown off, they're done. You can't do anything with them. If the frond is crispy, it's done. You can't revive it. So just cut them off at the base and more of the little fiddleheads will come back. And they start off as these very small, delicate little fiddles. And then they spread out, and then you get like the big, beautiful ones. And they are a stunning plant. So yeah, they do want to live, and if the frond's brown, all is not lost. It's fine, it'll come back, and they grow back quickly. When it comes to care, they only care about 3 things: light, water, and attention. When it comes to lighting, this is the sort of situation that I'm dealing with. So that is the south-facing window, and that is where the plant lives. I don't know, like 4 feet from the window, and it does quite well. But as you can see, so my terrarium's here, and there's a plant stand there. So it's getting a lot of light, it's getting long hours of pretty good light. It doesn't need to be right in the window. It would probably just burn. I mean, it would acclimatise over time, but it wouldn't be. I'm going to just change position because this is not good. When it comes to water quality, they're actually not that fussed, which is, I think, is how I've managed to keep mine alive and healthy for so long. So what I do is I water it with the water from my water glass, like just drinking, like tap water, normal water. Every couple of days when I'm walking past it, I'll just tip a little bit of water in it. I don't let the top of the soil dry out, I just keep it damp all the time. This is such contrary advice to most other houseplants, especially like aroids, but with ferns, the soil wants to be consistently damp. And as somebody that underwaters, I do struggle with that. And if you do underwater, I wouldn't recommend having more than one type of plant that is this needy. But the secret to my success is this. This is my sofa where I watch TV, eat my food, because I'm an animal, and the fern is here. I've not actually moved the camera, I've just flipped it around. So I'm sat here, and there's the TV. This is where I spend all my time. Got my little table here for my little glass of wine, and the fern is there. I literally can't leave the room without seeing it, and I just don't forget about it because it's right there. Please excuse the cage, we have rabbits. If you find yourself the proud owner of one of these fellas, they are not that difficult. Get the light right, keep it watered. Do not forget about it. That is all of it. That's all it is. And don't panic when it just drops all its leaves one day, and it'll be fine. And that is pretty much it. There's not really anything to overthink. In terms of soil, a standard houseplant soil with no amendments is fine because it's quite water retentive. Fertiliser, I've honestly never really noticed a difference with whether I fertilise, whether I don't fertilise, what the fertiliser is. The important thing is to keep them moist and don't forget about them, so have them somewhere close to you, and don't throw them out if all the fronds die. The roots will be fine. The roots are weirdly drought resistant. It's just the fronds that need to be kept pumped up. Even things like humidity, this room I always assumed was quite humid, but it varies. It can be 25% humidity on a morning, 60% on an evening. It varies so much and it does not care. This orchid also doesn't care. Pot type, not that bothered. They don't even bother that much about pot size. When I repotted it a couple of weeks ago. I just moved it from one pot into the other, didn't mess around with the roots, and it's fine. It's growing. Like, all those lighter green bits are new growth. It seems really happy. The one thing that I do want to mention is do not get the fronds wet. They really, really don't like that. We used to keep ours in a terrarium, and we used to have to spray it down because we had a frog in there who needed it to be kept wet. And the fronds will brown off if they get wet, so do not mist. Again, it won't kill the plant, the roots will be fine, but the fronds will brown if they get wet. So make sure you just water the soil, not the fronds. You can bottom water, but make sure that you leave it for long enough that all of the soil is damp. So in conclusion, a good amount of light, lots of water of any quality, not any quality, but you know what I mean. Like, if you can drink it, that's fine for this fella. Fertilizer, who cares? Soil, who cares? Just some soil. Humidity, not bothered. Do not mist. That's it. And you know, don't panic if this happens. This brownness, it's perfectly fine. I hope you enjoyed this video. Come back next time and I will tell you how to do this. It's even easier than the Maidenhair Fern. And look at this. This is such an overachiever. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.